Off the DL with DL Augustine, coming to you live every Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Holy Hills Radio, the #1 internet radio station in the world. To listen, go to www.holyhillsradio.com, or you can call in and listen at 401-347-0380. Again, that's 401-347-0380.
Welcome. You are listening to Off the DL with your host, DL Augustine. Just want to say hello to everyone. Happy Wednesday. Hope everyone is doing well and finding themselves walking in the love of Jesus. Our show tonight is a very interesting one. I actually had to do a little research on this topic because when I thought about hunger, I thought about other countries. I don't think about hunger when I think about the United States. I don't think about people not having enough food when I think about my community or my friends or just in general, people that I walk by every day. You just assume that everybody has food to eat. And I must confess, I've been a little naive. And because of that, I actually decided to take this topic off the DL. And so we can discuss it and take it off the DL and give it to the Most High. And, I had to do my research. I kind of looked up hunger in America, and it had some startling statistics. It says that one thing that when I was doing the research, hunger, what they call it, is a food insecurity. What is that? They call hunger in America, they call it a food insecurity. It's the act of not having enough access to healthy, nutritious food. So when all the statistics are calling it food insecurity, but we know what it is. So here are some statistics that I did not know until I did my research on this. 46.7 million people in the United States, the richest country in the world, are in poverty. That's 14.8% of our total population live in poverty. 15.5 million people, which is 21% of children under the age of 18, also live in poverty. 4.6 million, which is 10% of seniors, of which I am a member, are also living in poverty. The overall national poverty rate, according to the supplemental poverty measure, is 15.3%, which is compared to the national average of the world, actually, it's only 14.8. So we here in America, the richest country in the world, according to everybody's standards, not just our own, every other nation says that we're also the richest nation in the world. We have a large part of our population living in poverty, which is unreal to me. When you have people who are billionaires, you have people who have so much money, they will never spend it in a lifetime. So why do we have people who don't have enough food? Doesn't make sense. The math doesn't add up. Back to this food insecurity, as they like to call it. Statistics are saying that 48 million Americans live in food insecure households, including 32.8 million adults, 15.3 million children. 14% of all households, which equals about 17 million households, are considered to be food insecure. 6% of all households, which is about 7%, experience very low food security. Households with children reported food insecurity at a significantly higher rate than those of households without children. 19% with children versus 12 without. That's simple math. More mouths to feed, more of an issue. Households that had a higher rate of food insecurity than the national average included households with children, which we've just discussed, especially households with children headed by a single mother. 35% is that number. Single men, 22%. Black non-Hispanic households, 26%. And Hispanic households, 22%. The numbers are staggering. Food insecurity exists in every country in the US, but for a country who has the resources that our country has, this should not be. It really just shouldn't. There's something wrong. As my mother liked to say years ago, there's a dead cat on the line, because there's no way that we should live in a country with as much resources as we have and people are hungry. That doesn't make any sense. This was a very interesting statistic for me. 14 states exhibited statistically significantly higher household food insecurity rates than the US national average. I'm going to give you the names of the states. Mississippi had 22%, Arkansas 19%, Louisiana 17%, Kentucky 17%, Texas 17%. And those of you who are local with me, Ohio 17%, Alabama 17%, Missouri 17%, and actually they're 16.8, 16.9, I'm rounding them, okay? North Carolina 16.7, Oklahoma 16, Tennessee 16, Maine 16, Oregon 16, Kansas 16. Now, how is it that we live in a country that has everything, a country that people are dying to get to because of this American dream that we sell, but yet we have people who don't have enough food? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. So tonight we are going to talk about food insecurity. Let's call it what they say, but it actually is hunger. We're going to talk about hunger here locally in Columbus, Ohio. And to discuss that, I have brought a guest on that actually has hands-on experience with this topic. And my guest tonight is Robin Fisher. Hello, Robin. How are you?
Good evening. Thanks for having me.
I'm glad to appreciate you being here. And Robin Fisher is the head, the kitchen manager and head chef of a soup kitchen here locally in Columbus, Ohio, that is really doing a great work of God, really doing a great work of God. And we're going to talk about what they do and what she does. And but to bring you on, if you would just give us a little background on you and how you came to be at St. John's and everything.
Actually, how I became at St. John's in itself was kind of a fluke. I had went through some hard times and actually found myself in a position that a lot of the people that I now service were in. I had a pretty good job cooking for the sorority houses. Had been there several years. Had come across an illness and actually got very ill. So I was out of work a year and a half, 18 months, almost 2 years.
Wow.
During that time, pretty much, I lost everything. I lost my apartment.
Wow.
I lost my car. I lost everything. I lost everything. Now I have family here, and a lot of people that I service don't. So I was blessed in that way to have family, and I don't think I would have been able to get through it without family, but without some of the resources also that Ohio offers. I was drawing unemployment, and also getting a very minimal amount of food stamps, which you get when you
Okay.
You're eligible for when you get unemployment.
Okay.
It was under $100, but for that $100 a month, it was required of me to do 24 hours of community service. They placed me in a place where my skill was. I was a chef, I was a cook, so they placed me there at the community kitchen.
Okay.
And it's nothing but God. It just so happened that when I got there, the place was, it could be a lot better. It could have been a lot better. It was a lot that needed to be done, and they were what they were trying to do is take on the children's summer feed program. In order to do that, there's some very strenuous regulations that you have to go through the Department of State Agriculture, and then also the Ohio Health Department. And, you have to go through these inspections and get all these things checked off. And there has to be a certain layout in order to participate in this program. We're the only soup kitchen that in Columbus, Ohio, that is actually licensed to also be a summer food site for children.
Wow.
And that's because it's so strenuous to do. But when I got there, they needed help getting through those inspections. And they kind of didn't know what to do or what was going to be asked of them. And it just so happened I did.
Okay, from your previous job experience. I got you.
So I feel like, honestly, that God placed me there. From the very first day I went in there volunteering, and I did 24 hours a month. The very first month I started in March. And I decided to do my 24 hours in a full week, meaning just like a job. You know, just go and do my 6 hours, 8 hours. And during this week, what I did was set a system in place to restructure the workings of the kitchen, set a system in place for paperwork and everything else that we needed to have in mind for codes.
So it sounds like they were just they were feeding people, but there was a structure or format that needed to be built and created. And you came in and did
so that. I came in and we worked together. I told them, I shared my knowledge with them, and then they gave me something in return, a job. They offered me the position as the head cook and the kitchen manager. And of course I accepted it. And it took me and put me right in another category, just like that. I was on one side of the table and I went over to the other side of the table.
That's
so I guess I say that to say I appreciate it even more.
And I'm sure that gives you the ability to appreciate people, because they say that we all are only a few paychecks away, or just one, of course, of being in that soup line or being at that soup kitchen. And I mean, I can honestly attest to that. It's like, I don't know what I would do if I had a long term. Of course, I'm going to depend on God and Jesus. I believe that Jesus is going to preserve me, but that doesn't mean that I don't need to, it's like in the Bible, when Joseph was chosen, when the Pharaoh chose Joseph to be over, Pharaoh had a dream, and he dreamed, and Joseph interpreted the dream, and Joseph said, here's what your dream said. You're going to have 7 years of famine and 7 years of plenty, and then you're going to have 7 years of famine. And what he did during the 7 years of plenty, he was able to store up, grain and different things, so that when the famine came, they were ready for it. You just had to use some wisdom. So, and I say that to make the point, yes, we all are, we basically, it can happen to anyone. That's absolutely correct. But for the grace of God, go I. So you find yourself going from a situation where you're kind of desperate yourself.
Yes, very much.
And having to rely on resources of the city and different programs. And through one of those programs, you ended up getting a job.
Yes.
Wow. And then you begin to service the very people that you had become, that you had not only just came out of being. So
exactly.
That's very interesting.
Exactly what happened.
That is very interesting.
And from that point on, it's been 2.5 years, and I'm still going strong. And we've grown quite a bit. We've had a lot of changes. We've been there since 1979, so that's a long. That's
very long time.
That's a very long time.
That is.
This place is really valuable resource for the community. We service the south and southeast end of town. However, people come from all parts of town. If you can make it in there, you can eat. There's no questions asked. It's a free hot breakfast and free hot lunch.
Oh, really?
6 days a week, every day but Sunday.
Oh, wow.
Every day but Sunday.
Okay, so free and hot breakfast and hot lunch.
Hot breakfast, hot lunch. I believe in, I don't want to serve anything that I wouldn't eat.
Okay.
However, for us, it's not like we get to make a list and I get to go grocery shopping, so to speak. We're based a lot on donations from Mid-Ohio Food Bank, Second Servings, Costco's, Panera, Giant Eagle. But example, a truck will pull up from Mid-Ohio.
Okay.
And it's a lot too about relationships you build with these truck drivers
Absolutely.
too, because they know things you need and they will make sure if they can get a hold of them, they will, you know.
Okay.
But a truck will pull up for an average day for me on a Wednesday, say we'll get delivery. Mid-Ohio truck will pull up, it'll back in, it'll open up. He'll tell me, hey, I've got 600 pounds. I've got 700 pounds, or I've only got 300. In that can be anything. It could be sandwiches. It can be burgers, chicken. It could be from anywhere, any of the restaurants, OSU East.
Wow.
So basically, I make my menus based off of whatever I get off that truck.
I got you.
So it's a constant, you know, trying to figure out, not only do you make the menu based on what's on the truck, but I create my menu and have to have enough to make 500 servings.
So you're saying serve 500?
Not just at my site. We also service 3 other sites.
Where is your site located?
My site is located at 640 South Ohio, Columbus, Ohio, and it's in the basement of the St. John's building, which is connected with the Holy Rosary Catholic Diocese.
Oh, yeah.
Which is right next door to it. It's a very historical building in itself.
Yes,
people come from all
it's
around.
It's that big old Catholic church.
Yes, the steeple that I remember as a child seeing from across town, that steeple, it's still there.
Okay.
So it draws a lot of people, and it's still an active church. And in all honesty, I don't know if I can say this, but it was my first interaction with Black Catholics.
Oh.
I mean, I was raised a Christian. I'm not saying I didn't know, but I had never really experienced a Black Catholic church. So
right.
This whole thing has been just illuminating for me, you know, just in so many ways.
Yeah, that's amazing. I'm very familiar, but you say where are your other locations?
Well, we service, what I do is I cook everything at my site, which is at St. John's, which we call, it's Community Kitchen, CKI for short. I cook everything there, but we send out at about 10:30. I send out meals. We have a van, and we load up the meals in hot boxes for St. Dominic's Catholic Diocese, which is also part of Holy Rosary, the sister church, basically, and they're at Atchison, next to the neighborhood house.
Okay.
So I feed 200 there. I also send 100 servings to the YWCA Family Shelter on 5th Avenue.
Oh.
So, and that's what we do. We cook everything there and send it out.
That's a place for like women,
families. It can be
families or women that are homeless or something.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's a complete shelter, and what we do is send over meals to supplement what else they're serving. But
I got you.
They serve breakfast, lunch, and dinner because
they
have live-in residents.
Okay.
So we send over 100 a day, supplement what else they're doing.
Okay.
And then we provide completely for St. Dominic's.
Okay.
So they get 200. We also provide the supplies for St. Dominic's to serve breakfast as well. Okay. We give them the supplies, and we have a site person there that will prepare breakfast.
Oh, that cooks.
But I send over the lunch.
I got you.
So 200 at my site, 200 there, and 100 at the Y, and that's 500 servings a day. Over 130,000 meals served last year.
Oh wow, that's
I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. Now, one thing that I'm aware of that you guys did, I mean, for the holidays, like Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
A lot I've heard people talk about the meal that you serve on Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and it's an undertaking. Let me just say, I mean, people think that you do a lot of cooking on Thanksgiving and you fuss because you got to do a turkey and a ham and some yams. Well, I do 90 turkeys. Over a week span.
90 turkeys.
90 turkeys. We have a big, all to get out.
More than normal.
Oh, yes. It's about 600-700 people in our site.
Okay.
So we have a live band. The news is there. Buckeye guy usually comes. It's really a big to do. We serve on Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow. That's nice.
They get to sit down, family style, and we have probably over 100 volunteers that will volunteer the year prior for the following year. I mean, we're already loaded for this Thanksgiving. But they go out and they take orders and they come back up and we fix, so they get served and they get to sit and eat as a family.
That is really nice.
We have a live jazz band that comes, as I said, and so it's really, so they eat and then they leave and then a new group comes in. And we do that till about 1:30. Which usually gets us about 600-700 people. And that's how far 90 turkeys go amongst all the other trimmings. Everything you would have at your Thanksgiving, I make sure they have it that Thanksgiving.
Oh, that is really. Now, do you see whole families, or do you mostly see single people?
We see singles. We see our regulars, but yes, we do see. We see some regulars that bring family members that we generally don't see through the year, even. So yeah, we do. We see all different types of things, and it's not just a color divide. We're probably 50-50.
Okay, as far as race.
Yes.
Okay, racial components.
Yes,
okay,
for sure. So, and like I said, some of these people have been there and around there for many, many years, long before me. And, it's like a home to them. And a lot of times they come there to socialize too, and to connect. It's not just about the meal. It's sometimes for some of those folks, it's the only place they have to come and sit and connect. They don't just come and eat. We have a TV in the dining area, so they come and they can watch TV, which, believe it or not, it's like being at home. Excuse me, the millions of arguments. Can you turn the television? We don't want to watch the news. Can we watch the Westerns? It's, it's just like being, almost in your living room sometimes. So.
I can.
But yeah, they're there and they're there all day sometime until we get ready to close up and start cleaning up about 1:30.
Do you get a large homeless population?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. There is definitely a mixture, but yeah, probably the greater number. And I don't know if some are not technically what you would call homeless. Some are, and some live in what they call bandos, which are the abandoned buildings that are around in the area. And then there's some that just have very, very disturbing living situations, and they would almost rather be outside of the home than be inside of the home. So, there's been many times we open at 7 a.m. I get there and I open up, and there's been many a time that I get there and there are men sleeping on the steps, and basically waiting on me to open the door so they can go in. They go in and use the restroom. They wash up. They brush their teeth. Another service that we provide there, once a month, a client can get what we call a toiletry bag, and they're donated by people. We have church groups that actually make these bags. And then in them is everything they would need to take care of their personal hygiene. The men's bags include, razors and shaving cream and soap. And for the women, it's feminine products included with everything else you would need, toothbrush, toothpaste. So, and they use that many times and use our restroom to get themselves together.
That's good.
So that's just one of many things, but our focus is food. Our focus is food, and those things just are extras that we offer when we can. Because everything's based on donations. The larger part of my crew, there's 8 total employees for all that's being done between both sites. So
there's only 8?
Just 8 and 1 cook, me.
Oh wow,
so
that's a lot.
The rest of everything that goes on is
how many meals
volunteers.
did you say you put out last year?
Over 132,000.
And who cooked all those meals?
I did. I cooked all those meals.
I can't even imagine cooking 130. I don't even want to cook 5 days a week anymore.
Well, I don't either now. I get home and I don't want to pop a bag of chips.
Yeah, I can understand that. If you put out 132,000 meals, it'll kind of take the taste out your mouth for cooking. So I totally get that. Wow. So you only have 8 full-time employees. So how do you get this great body of work accomplished?
Once again, giving.
People
volunteering their time. The goods, and I stress this over and over again, the goods and the merchandise that people donate, the food, the diapers, all that stuff is a staple. It's great. But the only way that we could do what we do is the time that is dedicated.
Okay.
And we have companies large and small. We have families large and small that come in and volunteer. We have just regular old Sally Ann that decides she wants to come and do something, and she brings her kids and they start volunteering.
Oh, good.
We also do community service. So I have gentlemen that come in 2 shifts from, let's say, it's called a community-based community service.
Okay.
So they're almost ready to go home. So they have to do 40 hours.
Now, when you say ready to go home, from where?
They're like in a halfway house. They've been in jail doing whatever sentence or whatever it is they've done. They've done all of that work. So now they're at the end. They're in a place which is right off of Alum Creek. And they come out and they work programs. And part of those programs are, it could be Alcoholics Anonymous or whatever it is to help them better themselves and rehabilitate. And part of that is the 40 hours of community service that they have to give to the judge. So our site is one of those sites. So
wow.
So everything's based on volunteers and those great young men.
You know, I appreciate that too, because I think that community service is good for these young men and for anyone, number one, to volunteer, but it's like, that's a great way to number one, to pay back your debt or whatever you owe to society. And it has an immediate benefit. It's like, you know, rather than to just have somebody be in jail, you know, that doesn't help. It's like, we're paying for that as taxpayers when somebody's in jail, you know, and those of you who have family members in jail, don't get offended, because I do too. And so we're not calling nobody out. We're not doing that. We're just saying, if they're just sitting in jail, but if they are allowed to go out and serve in some capacity and to be able to help, you know, I think that is beneficial not only to them, but to us as well.
For sure.
So
I've seen it change some guys.
I've
seen it literally
good to hear.
Change some guys. Some guys unbelievably had never worked a day in their lives. They might have been hustling or whatever they've been doing, but they haven't used the broom. They haven't, you know, so when they come in and then they see the plight, I've had them come and say, man, I didn't know all this was going on. And I had a guy a couple of weeks ago tell me something that just, it just belted me in my stomach. He said, you know, I never thought about the effect of what I was doing, selling drugs, until I started here and I see people come in here that are dealing with addictions.
Oh my God, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, and it just, I mean, it affected him. So, I mean, it affected me because I never really thought about it like that. These guys come in and some of them are very, very connected with what's going on out there.
Yeah.
And sometimes they feel responsible even.
Wow.
For what they're seeing. So
that's, wow. It gives you a whole nother perspective.
It really did. It really did.
Gives you a whole nother perspective. You know, I tell you, as I said, I was a little naive on the subject matter when I first, you know, thought about bringing it in as a topic, because I don't know, I guess I didn't really think that people were hungry, you know, regular people,
right?
You know, that I walk by every day, and just to think, I don't know what their situations are when I don't know, you know, and it makes me feel bad because it's like, maybe I could have helped somebody and maybe I missed an opportunity.
It's not too late.
Yes.
It's not too late.
You know, that's a great point. And so what would you, to take this moment, if you were to speak to people, what's a good thing for us to do since this is being brought to our attention? What could we do?
I think the best thing you could do is look at your situation and ask, what can I do better? Mm-hmm. What can I give? I'm not talking a can of corn. And there's nothing wrong with canned goods. Don't get me wrong, because we need those too. Mm-hmm. But I need people. Okay. It takes a lot of bodies. Okay, I got you. To move this food. And we go through periods where we have a lot of people in the kitchen. It's feast or famine, I call it in my kitchen. It can be one day 15 people, and the next day I can have one guy and me. And I've had to push out that much food with me and just one other person, plus break down and clean the kitchen and get started for another day. Wow. So there's always a need. for people. And I personally would like to take this time to put out a call to all of my brothers and sisters. I hate to say it, I don't see very many that actually volunteer their time. And I would love to see that, because we are who we're servicing, as well as others. But this is your mother, your father, your brother, your sister, your uncle on any given day.
Wow. And
it just makes you feel good, because I'm telling you, I'm dead dog tired when I leave there, but it's a different kind of tired.
Yeah.
You know, it's a satisfying kind of tired.
I could see that. I could definitely see that.
So there's definitely reward. There's definitely reward.
You know, you had shared with me, you're talking about your regulars and something that happened to a couple of your regulars. Can you share that with everyone?
Well, as I said, this place has been there for a long time. And you get some guys that have been there almost as long as that building's been in effect, and you get to know them. And you get to know that, I mean, there's some characters. And you grow. You don't even know, but you grow to be attached to some of these people, excuse me. And then the lifestyles that they live and the element that they're in, any given day is not promised. And I've lost 2 clients that I really found myself attached to. And we lost them due to the weather,
wow.
Freezing to death. And you can't imagine that a grown man or a grown woman would freeze to death outside, because you're inside and you're warm.
Yeah.
And your belly's full, but somebody's not.
That is heartbreaking. That is so heartbreaking.
Somebody's not.
You know, the things that we take for granted. We're going to open the phone lines. If anybody would like to call in, anyone has a question or a contribution to this topic, the call-in number is 614-577-1434. And I'm going to say that again. If you would like to ask a question or make a comment, the phone lines are now open, 614-577-1434 or 1464. So the phone lines are now open. Well, I tell you, again, this has been an interesting conversation for me. I feel that I have not actually done all that I could have done. You just don't think about people being hungry.
Exactly.
You think, you think about, well, if you're poor, you get food stamps, or you think that there's something out there for everyone. You don't actually believe that people are really out there starving, but they are. And not just adults, children. You have children. Can you talk about some of the children that come in?
Yeah, I've watched a lot of kids. It's sometimes it's hard, because you see those kids and you see the position they're in, and there's nothing they can do.
Wow.
But be there. And it's hard not to get personally involved due to your own past experiences and paranoias and whatever your experience and your story is. You find yourself transferring that when it comes to the kids.
Yeah, I could see that.
And so we service a lot of kids, more so, of course, in the summer when they're out of school.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And when you think about it, a lot of these kids, that's going to be what they eat for the day. So we do our best to, we do a first round, and we also serve seconds. The last 15 minutes, you can get back in line, get a new tray, get seconds. And then we pass out sandwiches and whatever else, things that they can take home with them.
Okay, good.
So we just do our best to try to think beyond 3 o'clock.
Wow. You're listening to Off the DL with your host, DL Augustine, and our subject for tonight is hunger in America, and more specifically right here in Columbus, Ohio. And our guest today is Robin Fisher, who is the kitchen manager and head chef for a soup kitchen called the Community Kitchen. And we're talking about the population that she serves. We're talking about my apathy towards this particular topic. I didn't know. I feel, I just feel like, like my eyes have been closed to this particular topic. So they're open, and I'm going to have to deal with that knowledge. And I hope that you will too. We are going to take a pause for the calls right now. We're going to take a break. And again, our phone lines are open, 614-577-1434 or 1464. So give us a call if you have something to say. And we will be back after this break. Thank you for listening.
Off the DL, yeah.
We gon' take it on the down low. We gon' give it to the most high. We gon' take it on the down low. We gon' give it to the most high. We gon' take it on the down low. We gon' give it to the most high. We gon' take it off the down low, and we gon' give it to the most high. Time to make it come to DL. It's time to take it off the DL. Tell them what it's all about. God got it, and he gonna bring it out. We all need to talk about it. Any problem, every situation. We gotta know the truth. So maybe you can help with the problem I'm facing. You ain't gon' heal till you keep it on the real. Yeah, that's giving to the most high. And you ain't never gon' know if it's really gon' work if you don't try. Come on.
Come on, Zacardi. I believe that my God is a healer. Yes, he is. And I believe that I will survive. Oh, I believe that God is able. Oh, I believe. I know it is already done. The word tells us that if any two of us shall agree on anything on earth, then God will do it for us in heaven. And I know sometimes life has a way of knocking you down to the point where you can't even pray for yourself. But today, I want to agree with you that it's getting ready to get better. And right now, we are giving your problems an expiration date. And we're saying it's over. That you've been crying long enough. That you've been worried long enough. That you've been struggling long enough. And I believe that God's going to do it for you. I believe God's going to do it. Yes, he will. I believe it's going to get better for you. Yes, He will. I believe it's gonna get better. Ooh, it will. Oh, I believe. If nobody wants to help you, God will fix it. God will fix it. Yes, He will. If you just believe, oh, it's got to get better. Talk to him, Sean. I know you've been crying at night, but I came by to let you know that it's gonna get better. To the single parents, go in the room and grab your children, put your arms around them and let them know it's gonna get better. If you trust in Him, hang on in there. God told me to tell you it's gonna get better. God's gonna do it. You can't handle it. You gotta give it to Jesus. Oh, won't He work it out? If you believe it, say, I believe. God is gonna get better. Things are gonna work out for you good. Tell somebody. Oh, you gotta believe. Cancer will bow down. Your child would get saved. Encourage somebody. Yes, I do believe. Yes, I do believe. You need to call somebody right now and tell them God's gonna do it. We've been made. Oh, we do it for a night. Oh, Joe. If you don't remember anything else, I believe. Remember this. Your storm is over. I believe. Your rain is gone away. Clouds have moved. I believe you'll make it through it. Oh, I believe it's already done. Give myself away. I give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. I give myself away so you can. Come on, let him know. I give myself. Give myself away so you can use me. I give myself away. What would happen?
You're on the air with your host, DL Augustine, and you're listening to Off the DL. And I thank you for listening. We are here tonight with Robin Fisher. She is with Community Kitchen. She is, which is a soup kitchen, basically. And our topic tonight is hunger. And hunger in America, the richest nation in the world. And not only hunger in America, but hunger right here in Columbus, Ohio. And Robin works in Community Kitchen, which services the Columbus, Ohio area. And we're learning that the problem is more pervasive than what I ever had any knowledge of. I had no clue that many people that I may sit next to in church, or, that I walk by, or, they may not have enough food to eat. And that to me is heartbreaking. So with that being said, Robin has come on to share what they do in her kitchen. They put out over 1,300 meals a year. Robin is the head cook. Nobody's cooking but her. How to put out that many meals a year. They service people 6 days a week. They serve hot breakfast. They serve hot lunch. And they do a summer program for kids. And the Community Kitchen is just doing a great work of God. And I want to commend them. And so, Robin, I want to commend you for what you're doing and what you guys are over there doing. One of the things that Robin shared is that how they can't do what they do without the donations. They get donations from everywhere, Panera, what was it?
Mid Ohio, Second
Mid Ohio
Servings.
Food Bank. Yeah. These places are donating hundreds of pounds of food. And, and of course, that is basically what Robin is feeding them. What she gets from them, she creates meals out of that. So, but she says the greatest resource of all is she needs bodies. She needs people to volunteer to come into the kitchen and work. So I'm going to let her share some contact information if you are interested in volunteering, or if you would like to play a greater role in this work. Robin, who would they contact? What would they do?
Well, you would first want to contact us at 614-252-6428 or 614-258-0812. You would ask to speak with our Director of Operations, MJ Muldrow, and she would get you connected with slots and what would be a good time for you, what works for you. We also have a site that we use and a lot of volunteer or nonprofit organizations use called Volunteer Spot.
Okay.
And once you make contact with us, after that point, you can go online and plug in, see where there's openings and plug yourself in for those things. So it's pretty streamlined.
Okay, that sounds
but
great.
Yes, most definitely. I would love to see more people coming in, because to me, the more people that come in and donate time, the more people that are made aware and they take that information to other places.
Right.
And that's what's important to me, the awareness.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, because that's why it was important for me to do the show tonight.
And I appreciate you so much doing it, because like you said, I mean, it's an innocent thing. You just didn't know. So imagine how many other people just don't know they're going on with their daily lives, because that's what we do. We're just trying to make it,
Yeah, I mean, you just don't think in the it's like when you think of hunger, you think of third world nations, you see little kids running around with this, the commercials that we see, but you don't think of it here at home. And the degree of it may be different, and not everywhere. The degree may be as severe in certain places, but it's still an issue. It's still a problem that needs to be addressed, because there is no way that we can have the resources that we do. I mean, you got people who have cars that cost more than a person, 5 people's salary, and yet people are hungry. There is something so vulgar about that. It's something so wrong about that you have people who have so much, and then you have people on the opposite ends of the spectrum that have so little. And then maybe some of those people who have so much will say, well, that something that they did, that they didn't take care of their business, or, they didn't dream big enough or whatever. But sometimes it just isn't their fault. Sometimes people are born into circumstances or fall into circumstances that are it's just life, and things happen. And at any time, your situation can change. At any time. That's you, that's me. We don't know what the future holds. Right now, things look pretty good. Right now, I'm not hungry. I got food. I got a car. I got a roof. But what if something changes? What if something changes and I'm not able to provide for myself, or my husband is not able to provide for me? What will happen to me? And it would behoove me to have a sympathetic heart and a hand towards those who are not as fortunate as me, because you don't know what waits right around the corner. So I am just totally you woke me up. You woke me up. You really did. So what would you like to share with us? Our time is getting low. We got about 5 more minutes or so. What would you like to share that maybe we haven't gone over, or would you like to reiterate something that we have gone over in our closing minutes?
The most I think that would just pretty much, I think, cap everything off and speak to everything that's happening there at Community Kitchen is our mission statement. Live simply so that others can simply live.
Wow. That says it all. Say that one more time.
Live simply so that others can simply live.
I love that. Live simply so that others can simply live. What if we all took that to heart? And what if we all did that? It would be a better world. I know that. And so that's the mission statement for the Community Kitchen.
Yes. Yes.
I love that. Live simply so that others can simply live. Wow. So that is amazing. I tell you, you coming onto the show, I'm hoping that, people will certainly listen to what you've said and understand that, there is a responsibility that we have
For sure.
to those who don't have as much or those who are down on their luck.
Mhm.
I love the fact how you yourself experience what you're now serving. I
Yeah.
love that you had to, and that God, it was like a 360 degree.
Yes.
So that's amazing to me. That's amazing. Now, have you ever in the kitchen had anybody come in that you knew?
Yeah, actually, yeah. I've had some junior high classmates come there. I've had some old high school classmates come there. A couple of people, that I was serving, and I didn't know that they were like immediate cousins, like.
Oh, you're kidding.
Yeah, immediate family. Just, all that time I've
You're kidding.
been serving this guy a year and a half, and just on a whim of a conversation, the conversation was struck up about his father and then my father, and found out that our fathers are brothers.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
so yeah. So I mean, there is, as I call it's never a dull moment at Community Kitchen, ever, ever.
Wow. It sounds like it's really an interesting place to work.
It definitely is.
It does.
It definitely
So,
is.
and so basically, if I personally wanted to volunteer, because I think I might volunteer,
Okay.
I think I might try to volunteer, because again, and like you say, it's easy to throw money at the problem, it's easy because that kind of salves your conscience, it's like, oh, I'm going to give them like $50 so. And that would help, I know it would. But according to you would rather have a volunteer.
Yeah, because whether you look at it this way or not, a lot of times volunteers turn into other resources. Like I said, they come, they volunteer, and it touches them, and they share that with someone. And that next someone may not have the time to volunteer, but might have the funds to give.
That's interesting.
It's a domino effect. So if you get those people in there and you let them see what you're doing, you let them see what you're about, they can't leave there and not be effective.
Tell me, in your at Community Kitchen, give me a situation that has touched you the most or the deepest, that really made you just touched your heart or made you think a different way.
Well, there are several. I think the hardest thing, the thing that touches me most is single moms with a number of children, and they don't have anything, very minimal. And it makes me think about everything I complain about. Everything I complain about, and everything that I fuss about that I don't have, and I whine about that I want. When I see those kids, and I see her, and sometimes I mean, it's easy to sit and judge, like, oh, she needs to do better, and she needs to do this, and she needs to do that, but you don't know. And sometimes you find out that they're so broken, that they're paralyzed.
Yes.
They can't move.
Wow.
They're broken, so they're stuck. And that can be a very hard thing to watch sometimes.
Wow, that.
So, and I know broken when I see it because I've been broken.
Yeah.
And only by the grace of God did he give me the tools and heal me and show me what I needed to do to try and, fix the broken pieces. But some people just don't have that, or they don't know how to get it, or because God is always there, but some don't even know to call on him. And it sounds crazy because he's everybody's God.
Right.
But sometimes he's so deep in the pits that you don't even think, I never asked to get out.
Wow. That's food for thought right there. Speaking of food, that's food for thought. You're right. Because you can be, no pun intended, you can be so deep into something that you can't see your way out. When the way out is always to call on God. Always. With that being said, that's going to conclude our show for tonight. I want to say thank you, Robin Fisher, with Community Kitchen. I just want to say thank you because for sacrificing your time to come here and to share with us the plight that is facing many Americans, and that's hunger. You can pretty it up, call it a food insecurity, whatever you want. It's still what it is. It's hunger. It's a lack of food, and that shouldn't be in a country as rich as ours. There are people that you and I know personally that don't have enough to eat. And that thought pains me. It really does. So I am left with a question. What am I going to do about it? And those of you who are listening, the question is posed to you as well. What are you going to do about it? Praying is always in order. But at some point, we have to get up off our knees, roll up our sleeves, and get our hands dirty. So, I don't know about you, but I'm ready to find out more. So, I thank you for tuning in. Robin, again, I thank you for bringing to light some things that maybe many of us were not aware of.
It's been a pleasure, and I appreciate just the opportunity to let folks know.
Yeah,
I appreciate that.
Thank you for coming. So, tune in next Wednesday to Off the DL. We have a really great show planned for you next Wednesday. In the house will be Mark Cummings. He is the owner of Walk on Water Entertainment, LLC. He will be with us, and he's going to bring a couple of cast members from his new movie that he's filming now called Holy Hustle. And, this is going to be crazy. This is going to be a great show. One of the guests he's bringing, many of you may already know, she is a reality star with some fame. Gloria Darrington. You may have seen her on Bridezilla. You may have seen her on, what is that? Couples Rehab. So she is actually in the movie. So she's going to be with him and another gentleman whose name I don't have right now, but it's going to be a blast. So tune in next Wednesday from 7 to 8. We are right now are on our way out the door. But I want to thank everybody for tuning in. But before I leave, I'd like to read a scripture. 1 John chapter 4, verses 7 through 8. Beloved, let us love one another, for love is of God. And everyone that loveth is born of God and knoweth God. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Thank you for listening. Take us home, Ike.
Off the DL with DL Augustine, coming to you live every Wednesday, 7 p.m. on Holy Hills